Right-wing political commentator Megyn Kelly complained on Newsmax that she's getting the cold shoulder from frenemy Donald Trump, despite her recent and increasing cultishly devoted rhetoric towards him and her instinct to grade him on a curve when she shouldn't. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends, we have several clips to play in this video. And for context, Megyn Kelly will say that she has complex feelings about Donald Trump. And to some extent or another, I feel the same way about Megyn Kelly because she's a former Fox News reporter. Then I think she went to ABC or NBC, and she's had moments of relative journalistic integrity, even though she's always been conservative and pretty open about it. She was a tough interviewer for Donald Trump, even recently, even within the past year. She was a tough moderator against Donald Trump in the 2016 election. She was a tough moderator during the Republican primary, and she's publicly criticized Donald Trump in the past, right? She's had her moments. But then, more recently, she has become increasingly cultish in her rhetoric towards him and her eagerness, again, to grade him on a curve about things she says she's very passionate about. And it's so strange. And it also ties into Piers Morgan, who kind of does the same thing. It's very interesting. So I want to play some clips. And this is the one from Newsmax in which she talks. I think Eric Bolling, I know he used to work for Fox News. I think the two worked there at the same time. So they're former colleagues, I believe, because their tenure at Fox paralleled. But she's complaining about getting the cold shoulder from him.
Interviewed him before quite a bit. Have you had him on recently? Would you like to have him on again? Because I would love to see you and Trump talk about these things. It'd be phenomenal to watch.
So I had him on in September, and I don't know that he loved that interview. He's okay with it because, there was a contentious part about the criminal cases, and there were lovely parts too, but Trump, he kind of wants it all to be lovely. He doesn't want any contention, even though that works, in terms of getting eyeballs to the interview, which is what he really likes. And since then, he's kind of gone on the attack against me a couple times publicly. He's still really mad about that debate question. So I'm not sure he's going to come on anytime soon. I think so. He brings it up a lot.
He does, yeah, he does have a long memory when it comes to those things. But you know what? Listen, I have a little bit of influence there. Maybe we'll make some calls because I want to watch it.
I'd love to talk to him.
I would love to watch Megyn Kelly with your history at the Supreme Court as a lawyer. And just being, so involved in the politics day to day of this, I would love to see that conversation now with 4 open cases still happening. Just talk law, man. That'd be a great hour.
So again, I'd love to talk with him. Oh, he wants everything to be nice. What she's really saying is Donald Trump can't handle a tough question. He's a malignant narcissist, hyper thin-skinned. He can't handle it, even from her, even though she's made it abundantly clear she is very much in favor of him politically and for the election. We'll get into even more recent clips than the one I'm about to show you, in which I guess Ron DeSantis was still in the race. The Republican primary was still going on. This is what she had to say about Trump's cognitive state to Glenn Beck.
But there's no question Trump has lost a step or multiple steps. He is confusing Joe Biden for Obama. I know he's now saying he intentionally did that. Go back and look at the clips. It wasn't intentional. It was look, any of us could have a slip of the tongue, but it's happening to him repeatedly. The reference about how somebody's going to get us into World War II, confusing countries, confusing cities where he is. It's happening.
So she's publicly criticizing and suggesting that Donald Trump is in some sort of cognitive decline. Now, she'd go on to say that, in her opinion, Joe Biden is worse. But again, publicly criticizing him, right? That's what I'm saying. She's had her moments. But then she was on Piers Morgan show recently. And in the many months between the clip I just showed you and this one here, her rhetoric towards Trump has become increasingly cultish.
So there's sort of my own personal reaction to him, and then there's my political analysis of him. Personally, I have mixed feelings about him. I see how charismatic he is, how dynamic he is, how strong he is, how he doesn't bow down to anybody, no matter how much is thrown at him. And I respect all of that. I wish that he would get over the debate question I asked him back in 2015. He still raises it. He's raising it like a couple weeks ago. He raised it on the campaign trail. It's been 9 years. He's been president, right? It's like,
but also know the way she's she's upset, obviously, that he's upset about an 8-year-old tough debate question. And then he smeared her in the worst possible way, in the most misogynistic way. And also, but she's laughing about it right now in the sense that I can't imagine Megyn Kelly, and especially if you watch any of her recent content where she is outraged at the drop of a bucket. Do you really think she would be this coy about it, this gracious about it, if a Democrat said the terrible things about her that Donald Trump says? No, of course not. She'd be furious. But because it's Trump and because she wants to get back into his good graces, her one complaint about him personally is that she wishes he would, let it go, right? That's her one complaint. I wish he would be nicer to me. I wish he would forget about that time that I asked him a tough question. I want to play more of this clip.
I wish he would stop, because it's just nonsense to focus on at this point in his life and in mine. But politically, I see him as the juggernaut he is. And I see him like forgive this, I'm not trying to say he's a superhero, but almost as a superhero who has the special gift of the more you fire at him, the bigger he gets.
Yeah.
He's basically like Batman or what? No, she's thinking of a kaiju. She's thinking of like something like Godzilla. She's thinking of a sci-fi villain monster that the more the military attacks it, the bigger and more dangerous he gets. Thus, the creative ways that the hero has to stop the monster when conventional force fails to work. But in her mind, she has to associate Donald Trump with a I'm not comparing him to a superhero, but he's a juggernaut. And he's so charismatic and he's just amazing. And he takes no crap from anybody. And he's just awesome. And he's sexy. And he's so smart. On the downside, my complex feelings are, I wish he would get over that time that I asked him a tough question so he would do more interviews with me. Again, weirdly cultish. Then she has the instinct. As a former lawyer, as Eric Bolling said on Fox News, she's a former attorney, or she is an attorney. I don't know if she still practices. She is weirdly inclined to grade Trump on a curve about something that she's clearly passionate about that Donald Trump is very guilty of.
Very much. Very much so. I just don't think that this is something we're easily going to be able to bounce back from. You look at January 6th, and it was bad. January 6th was a terrible day, and I'm not somebody who would defend it or who downplays it. I don't think it was as bad as 9/11, as some of these kooks in the media on the left say, but it was a terrible day. It doesn't hold a candle to the left using our justice system at the federal and state level to stop a political opponent. That goes right to the fundamental core of who we are in America. And if we lose that, if somehow Trump is stopped because of the lawfare against him, we've genuinely lost a piece of our identity of what.
So again, note that this is important for the final clips I'm about to play. Listen, January 6th wasn't great, but it's so much worse that Donald Trump is being prosecuted, right? She calls it lawfare. I would say it's justice and accountability, but let's be just more neutral. Donald Trump is being prosecuted by the law. She says that's worse than a sitting president inciting an insurrection to storm the Capitol to prevent the peaceful transfer of power so that he can remain in office. Donald Trump being prosecuted is worse than that. How dare you try to use the Justice Department against a political enemy? Very interesting. Thank God I've got the receipts, because Donald Trump, in fact, tried to do just that when he was the sitting president.
Unless Bill Barr indicts these people for crimes, the greatest political crime in the history of our country, then we're going to get little satisfaction unless I win, and we'll just have to go, because I won't forget it. But these people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country, and that includes Obama, and it includes Biden.
So Donald Trump, the sitting president, went on Fox News and publicly told Maria Bartiromo and Fox viewers and the country that his attorney general, Bill Barr, should prosecute then political candidate Joe Biden. Now, Megyn Kelly has nothing like this coming from President Biden against Donald Trump. There is no evidence, none, that President Biden ordered the prosecution or pressured the prosecution of Donald Trump. But we have evidence of Donald Trump trying to do just that. We actually have multiple clips to talk about it, but one is sufficient. I had a couple more lined up. The sitting president at the time, Donald Trump, tried to prosecute his political enemy, Joe Biden, and she was fine with it. She didn't care about it, because if she did care, she wouldn't be endorsing Donald Trump in this election. right? If she were truly principled and thought that prosecution of political enemies were wrong, then she would endorse neither candidate. I would understand how she wouldn't endorse President Biden because Donald Trump's being prosecuted. But then President Donald Trump tried actively to prosecute Joe Biden, but his conservative attorney general, Bill Barr, wouldn't do it because there wasn't a legal case for it. We have him dead to rights trying to do the very thing you're complaining about, corruptly, I might add. And you have no evidence that Joe Biden's doing it. It's entirely possible, as I believe, that Donald Trump is being prosecuted because we have credible evidence he committed crimes, not because a sitting president is trying to prosecute his political rival. But if that's your standard, then you need only look at Donald Trump, the man you're publicly endorsing, the man that you're grading on a curve, the man that you're laughing, gently, I wish he would get over. I'd love to talk to him again. That's what's weird about Donald Trump and the right wing in this country, because obviously Megyn Kelly's not stupid. And Megyn Kelly has shown signs of principle and standards in the past. Piers Morgan has too. But when it comes to Donald Trump, the instinct is grade him on a curve, even when he is guilty of the very thing you think his enemy is doing, but have no proof of. Super sick stuff. And well beneath her. She should do better than that. Let me know what you think in the comments.